love is love, and that our sexuality and gender identity and expression is a spectrum, and celebrating everyone on it is a key point of building community and our country. I am also a parent and a grandparent. I remember when I had my first baby and the overwhelming honor I felt at knowing that this being was a gift to me, that my job was to do one thing, do my very best every day to love them exactly the way they are. It is the most beautiful practice of parenthood, in my opinion, that of unconditional love. Sometimes I struggle with my kids. They are themselves, and getting to know them as they get to know themselves can sometimes be challenging. And when it is hard, I remind myself, my number one job is to be their love foundation. That when they go out into the world and face the challenges that are there for them, when they look at me, they see someone who loves them and believes in them. I often tell my children, you are the best part, because for me, they are. And grandchildren, well, that's just a whole other level of being a love foundation. So this is what I think of when I speak today about a bill that will specifically criminalize subjecting a minor to conversion therapy, transporting a minor out of Canada for the purpose of conversion therapy, subjecting adults to conversion therapy against their will, and the business of conversion therapy aimed at both minors and adults. This will include criminalizing advertising the service and charging for or profiting from the service. Let me just say, Madam Speaker, I am absolutely horrified that anyone has been supported or paid to try and convince any soul that who they are is not okay. Teens who are exploring transitioning are being subjected to body-affirming therapy that attempts to tell them that they should love the body they were born with instead of affirming that they can be whoever they want to be and feel themselves to be at their core. Who are we, much to tell anyone, much less a growing teenager, to accept their body as it is when that teen knows their body does not match their gender identity and they have felt wrong in their bodies their whole lives? Body-affirming therapy is wrong and must be included in this ban on conversion therapy. The reality is that we live in a culture where the hate towards the SOGI, or the sexual orientation and gender identity and expression community, is still happening all too often. Where young people who know who they are terrified that if they say anything, they will lose their love foundation. And some do, Madam Speaker. Some souls say who they are and they lose their foundation. For those beautiful people, we must keep speaking about this. They need to know that it gets better, that there are many people out there with love in their heart waiting to love and accept them. Any form of conversion therapy, in my opinion, is deadly because it is trying to change someone's wholeness, their being. That is a wound I cannot imagine. Being told who you are at the very core is wrong, being left by the very people who were meant to love you. So I want to put it on the record, Madam Speaker, that members from the SOGI community do not need to be fixed, and that it is impossible to change someone's sexual orientation or gender identity or expression through counseling or aversion therapy because there is nothing wrong. We know that these attempts of conversion therapy, which are really just torture, results in any kind of attempt to alter a person's sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. It's harmful. These acts, all acts of homophobia or transphobia, lead to depression, social isolation, self-harm, and even death by suicide. An earlier speaker on this bill said that the SOGI community is resilient. Despite the hate in the world, this community is resilient. And I've seen this. A great example is the many annual Pride events in my riding. They are loving and powerful. I am so grateful for this. And I want to stop the hate in Canada that this community has to be resilient against. I hope that by getting this bill through the House and through the Senate, that we shut down this horrific practice which harms people so deeply. I hope we all work towards finding love for one another. Life is beautiful, but it is also hard. Who you are should not mean you have to load up another level of resilience, another layer of armor, just to simply exist in this world. Nothing in this bill affects the ability of parents to discuss questions of sexual orientation or gender identity or expression with their children. It simply does not stop conversations. The what if argument I'm hearing from the Conservatives is disappointing. And what I would say is this: What if we lose one more member of the Soji community to suicide because they are being taught who they are is not okay? I want to lean into that fear and work towards saving lives because to me, those lives are more precious and more important than fear. For me, this is a bill that says Canada is beginning to say no to anyone who is making money from or providing conversion therapy. Recently, I was able to participate in a virtual event to recognize the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, hosted by the member from Esquimalt Saanich Suk. I am so grateful for his leadership and hard work on this file. I was able to ask a question about how to be the best ally I could. I will always remember what Brian Chang said. He said, advertise that you are an ally. Do not just think about it. Make sure you're doing all you can to make sure that the people who need to know do not have to ask. I have done my best to be that kind of ally, one that is not passive, but reaches out and does the work as much as possible. And I will always look for more input because I know we can always do better. It is hard to recognize that we still live in a world that is not safe for the Soji community. This was amplified even more in my writing in December of 2020 when a young person put up a website and followed up with an art exhibit at the Comox Valley Art Gallery. Mackay Sharp had the great bravery to share his story of homophobia that he experienced in his community. He named his project Kill Yourself. I hope we all take a breath when we hear that. Hate is a message that tells people who they are is not okay and that they don't belong. I want to continuously work towards a Canada that stops homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia. I want a Canada that says clearly, love is beautiful, you matter. Your identity matters, your sexuality matters, your pronouns matter, who you are matters. Thank you.